Hello, and welcome to our podcast, episode number 100, the epic conclusion to Caesar's revolutionary journey. I am Timothy, and I am here with my dear friend, Thomas. Tonight, we are going to talk about a film called War for the Planet of the Apes. A warm welcome to you, dear viewer, to our film night.
War for the Planet of the Apes is a 2017 American science fiction action film in which apes and humans are engaged in an escalating war, leaving Caesar seeking revenge while trying to protect his tribe. So, Tim, what do you think about War for the Planet of the Apes?
Well, I found it passable, but it wasn't particularly memorable for me, Thomas. It had some nice visuals, but overall I didn't find myself fully engaged with the story or characters.
Cough. You mean you fell asleep halfway through like usual, old-timer? I thought we already had this conversation about watching films without nodding off. Seriously though, Tim, War for the Planet of the Apes was an incredible conclusion to a fantastic trilogy. It combined breathtaking special effects and a powerful, poignant narrative that left me speechless at times.
I said it wasn't memorable, Tom.
Doesn't mean I slept through the entire thing.
And while the visuals were impressive, I found myself more drawn to the performances of the human actors in this film, particularly Woody Harrelson as the villainous colonel.
Oh, you mean the guy who played the same one-note villain for 2 hours straight? Give me a break. It's the apes that stole the show, Tim, especially Andy Serkis as Caesar. His portrayal of a conflicted leader torn between revenge and protecting his tribe was simply brilliant.
Well, I suppose the CGI was quite realistic. But honestly, Tom, I just don't see what all the fuss is about this film series. It's just monkeys on a rampage, isn't it?
Sigh, you're kidding me, right? Have you even watched any of the previous films in this trilogy or read any of the original Planet of the Apes stories by that Rod Serling guy? This is about the rise and fall of civilizations, Tim, told through the eyes of our primate friends. It's an allegory for human nature itself.
Well, if you say so, Tom. But I still think we could have discussed something more.
Stimulating for our viewers tonight.
Grown fine, Tim. Let's talk about the plot of War for the Planet of the Apes. So what exactly happens in this movie?
Well, Thomas, War for the Planet of the Apes picks up 2 years after the events of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Caesar, now a wise and battle-scarred leader, is living with his tribe in peaceful harmony in their own lushly forested sanctuary. However, the fragile balance between man and apes is shattered when an ambush by the remaining humans, led by the ruthless Colonel, leaves Caesar's family brutally slaughtered. Driven by a thirst for vengeance, Caesar rallies his surviving troops and sets out on a perilous journey to confront the Colonel and bring him to justice. Along the way, they must navigate through treacherous landscapes filled with both hostile human factions and nature's undeadly traps. Along the way, Caesar faces internal struggles as he wrestles with his growing desire for revenge, which threatens to consume him completely, and his role as a leader who must guide his tribe safely through this treacherous journey. Ultimately, the film explores themes of leadership, revenge, loyalty, and the very nature of humanity itself as told through the eyes of our primate protagonists.
Sounds like Caesar has a lot on his chimpanzee shoulders. Tim, but seriously though, War for the Planet of the Apes is truly an epic tale about one ape's journey to find peace and justice for his people. And while it's action-packed with some incredible battle scenes between man and ape, it also delves deep into the complexities of relationships, both between Caesar and his loyal followers, as well as his tumultuous relationship with the villainous Colonel. The film also explores themes of hope and humanity's capacity for change, as shown through Caesar's interactions with a group of surviving humans who join him on his quest for vengeance. Throughout the movie, director Matt Reeves expertly balances these elements, creating an emotionally charged story that leaves viewers thinking about the consequences of violence and revenge long after the credits roll. So, Tim, what do you think? Is War for the Planet of the Apes just monkeys on a rampage, or is it a intriguing masterpiece?
Thomas will give you one thing. The special effects were impressive. The CG used to create these lifelike apes is unquestionably stunning. But honestly, I still think we could have chosen a more stimulating film to talk about tonight.
But Timothy, that's part of the beauty of this trilogy. The special effects are merely a tool used to tell a larger story, one that delves into the depths of human emotion and the complexities of survival. And speaking of survival, did you know that the production team faced their own set of challenges while filming War for the Planet of the Apes? The harsh environments in which much of the movie takes place presented a significant challenge to the cast and crew alike. Filming locations ranged from snowy mountaintops to sweltering deserts, all of which required extensive planning and preparation to ensure safety and quality of the final product. For example, during the epic battle scene where Caesar's tribe charges into the heavily fortified human encampment, the production team had to build a massive set piece that could withstand the rigors of the filming process as well as the intense weather conditions in which it was being shot. This involved constructing a large wooden fortification complete with palisades and watchtowers, all of which were later burned down during filming. Despite these challenges, the cast and crew persevered, led by an apologetic director in Matt Reeves, who was determined to bring this gripping story to life. So, Timothy, what do you think about War for the Planet of the Apes now? Is it just monkeys on a rampage, or is there something deeper than meets the eye?
Well, Thomas will give you that. The special effects were impressive. But honestly, I still don't see what all the fuss is about this film series. It's just monkeys on a rampage, isn't it?
But Timothy, you're missing the forest for the apes puns. I think it's time we discuss the performances, particularly those of Andy Serkis and Woody Harrelson. As Caesar, Serkis delivers a truly captivating portrayal of a leader struggling with his humanity, torn between vengeance and the responsibility of protecting his tribe. His facial expressions, body language, and even his vocalizations bring the complex character to life on screen. And as for Woody Harrelson's performance as Colonel, he embodies a man consumed by hatred and blinded by his own prejudice, willing to commit horrific acts in the name of progress, even if it means destroying himself and everything around him. Now let's talk about the filming itself. Director Matt Reeves had a challenging task ahead of him when he decided to shoot War for the Planet of the Apes almost entirely practically, with minimal CG used during post-production. This decision paid off handsomely, as the movie's realistic settings and practical effects make the world of the apes feel more grounded than ever before. The use of practical effects for Caesar's iconic ape Aratus is especially impressive, with each individual hair handcrafted by a team of dedicated artists who spent countless hours bringing Caesar's furry suit to life. And what would a film about war be without its epic battle scenes? The climactic battle between Caesar's tribe and the Colonel's forces is a testament to the skill of the stuntmen and women involved as they daringly leap between burning wreckage and swing from ropes suspended high above the set. The filmmakers also utilized practical effects such as pyrotechnics and practical explosions to create a sense of chaos and destruction that would have been difficult, if not impossible, to replicate digitally. So, Timothy, what do you think now? Is War for the Planet of the Apes just monkeys on a rampage, or is there something deeper than meets the eye?
Well, Thomas, I have to admit that the performances by Serkis and Harrelson were indeed impressive. However, I still struggle with fully engaging myself in a story where the main characters are animals rather than humans. Don't get me wrong. The special effects and practical filming techniques used in War for the Planet of the Apes are remarkable. But at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of apes fighting each other, isn't it? I mean, how can we really relate to them or empathize with their struggles when they don't have the same emotional depth as human characters do in other films.
Timothy, you raise an interesting point about relatability and emotional depth. However, I believe that War for the Planet of the Apes manages to achieve this by focusing not just on the apes themselves, but also on their relationships with each other and with human characters. Caesar's relationship with his son, Blue Eyes, provides a powerful emotional anchor throughout the film. We see both characters grow and change as they navigate through their tumultuous world. Similarly, Caesar's interactions with human characters like Maurice showcase complex dynamics that challenge our notions of what it means to be human. In addition to this emotional depth, War for the Planet of the Apes also features strong thematic elements that resonate with audiences on a deeper level. The film explores issues like prejudice, oppression, and the consequences of war, all of which are relevant in today's world. By presenting these themes through the lens of characters who are not traditionally human, the film forces us to confront our own biases and assumptions about what constitutes intelligence or empathy. So while it may be true that some viewers might struggle with fully connecting to the apes as characters, I think that War for the Planet of the Apes offers more than just mindless action or special effects. It's a film that challenges our perceptions and invites us to reflect on some of the fundamental issues facing our society today.
Well, Thomas, I suppose you have a point there, but I still can't help but wonder how much of the film's success can be attributed to its groundbreaking use of practical effects and CGI. After all, it seems that every science fiction and fantasy TV series these days is trying to replicate those same realistic, almost documentary-like visuals. I mean, just look at shows like The Mandalorian or even the recent reboot of Star Trek, Picard. They're all vying for that same level of immersion and authenticity.
That's a fair point, Timothy. War for the Planet of the Apes did indeed set a new bar when it comes to blurring the line between CG and practical effects in filmmaking. It's no wonder then that its impact has been felt across various mediums, including television. The popularity of shows like The Mandalorian and Star Trek, Picard you mentioned, are just a few examples of how this newfound obsession with realism has trickled down into the world of streaming services and TV series. But let's not overlook the influence that War for the Planet of the Apes had on other genres as well. For instance, I can't help but see a connection between the film's depiction of intelligent primates and the rise of Planet of the Apes-inspired action-adventure games like The Last of Us, or even the recent remake of Resident Evil. In these games, the protagonists often find themselves navigating through post-apocalyptic worlds inhabited by intelligent monkeys and apes who are capable of using weapons and strategy to survive. So while War for the Planet of the Apes may have started as a simple sci-fi reimagining of an iconic film franchise, its influence extends far beyond its genre boundaries. Its legacy can be felt in everything from practical effects to storytelling to video games. And it's safe to say that its impact will continue to resonate with audiences for years to come.
Well, Tom, I suppose you have a point there as well. However, I still find myself more drawn to films like The Shawshank Redemption or Casablanca, which rely on strong storytelling and memorable characters rather than flashy special effects and CG monkeys. While War for the Planet of the Apes may have revolutionized the way we approach practical effects in filmmaking, I still believe that it's the heart and soul of a great story that truly transcends time and genre.
I'm not saying that special effects aren't important, Timothy. In fact, they can even enhance an already compelling narrative if done right, as seen in films like Gravity or Blade Runner 2049. But at the end of the day, it's the story and its characters that will truly resonate with audiences. And while War for the Planet of the Apes does have a compelling narrative, I found myself more drawn to the complex relationships and themes explored in films like those I mentioned earlier.
Well, Tom will just have to agree to disagree on this one, eh? In conclusion, while War for the Planet of the Apes might not be my cup of tea when it comes to science fiction, I can appreciate the technical achievements and the emotional depth that the filmmakers were able to convey through their craft. It's a fitting end to the rebooted trilogy that left me feeling both satisfied and eagerly anticipating what future installments might bring.
And there you have it, folks. Timothy and I once again finding ourselves at loggerheads over the merits of War for the Planet of the Apes. But don't let us be the final word on this one. We encourage you to share your own thoughts, opinions, and favorite moments from the film in the comments section below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to join us for our next thrilling debate about another classic or contemporary movie